Hi there, and welcome to Claytime Adventures, where we help adults teach children creative polymer clay sculpting in homes, classrooms, and therapy settings. Here are my most used and suggested tools. Luckily, many of these can be found around your home. Palette knife, clay knife or plastic knife, ball stylus, or a toothpick or paper clip, a rolling pen or a rounded pencil, polymer clay of choice. I encourage you to try different brands to see what suits your child's needs, aluminum foil, paper towels, and a baking sheet. Today we will be making a tree frog. This project will take approximately 30 minutes to complete. I recommend this project for ages 9 to 11 years old, and it is suitable for beginner to intermediate skill levels. My suggested clay colors are green, orange, cream, red, black, and white, but I encourage you to allow your child to choose their own. For those of you interested in using the same or similar materials as shown in this demonstration, affiliate links can be found below in the description. Using those links helps support the channel at no extra cost to you. All right, let's get started. Once you've selected all of your colors, we're going to go ahead and start with the main part of our body here. So the main belly and back piece of our tree frog. I'm going to just set these other colors off to the side. Always a good idea if you have time beforehand to go ahead and warm them up. Otherwise, I encourage your child to grab the green and we'll start warming that up. We need the most of this color. Your child can squish and fold the clay in on itself. Once it's starting to become pretty workable, we'll go ahead and divide it up. We need one larger piece for the body. We're going to make 4 slightly smaller pieces for the legs. And then we'll have one extra. You may have additional clay left over that isn't needed for the project. Just go ahead and set that off to the side. This is a great opportunity to count. Take a look at what you have. You should have 1 large body piece, 4 legs, and 1 small extra that will be used for the eyes. In total, there should be 6. Grab the largest piece. We're going to go ahead and roll that up in a ball. So have your child grab the largest green piece, roll it together in their hands. This could also be done on your work surface. The goal is to smooth it out, get all of the wrinkles and creases out, and end up with a nice round sphere. Again, great opportunity. Name the shapes as we go throughout the project with your child. Taking a look at the body here, it's shaped more like a raindrop or a pear. So first thing I'll have you ask your child to do is go ahead and give that sphere a little squish. You don't want it super flat, but I've just made it slightly flatter. It's still pretty thick. And we're gonna think about bringing out a point to form that head. So I'm gonna take my 2 fingers and squish on either side. It's starting to get longer now. It's beginning to look like a raindrop. As you squeeze side to side, you'll notice your project gets thicker. Squeeze it again top to bottom. And you may find it helpful to do this a few times to start elongating that body and that head. Again, you can think of this as a thick raindrop. From the side, it is still quite thick. The belly of our tree frog is our lighter tan. Yellow also works, white works. I'll be wiping off my hands as I switch colors because it gets stuck all over sometimes and will transfer to other colors. So I encourage you to have paper towels on hand and get your child to periodically wipe their fingers off so we're not transferring those colors. We won't need quite as much of this tan for the belly. I'm going to divide mine up slightly smaller than a marble, bigger than a green pea. Have them take that piece and again, roll it up into a sphere. Name the shape. We want to make this sphere the same shape, roughly, as our frog, just flat. So think about taking this round sphere and flattening that. They should now have a circle. Ask them to take this circle and start to stretch one side pointier. This may be a little bit delicate. If your clay starts to tear, just have them take their finger and smooth over the cracks. I am pulling, I'm also using my fingers to pinch the sides and get it a little longer. Take the time to compare the shapes. Mine isn't quite long enough, so I'm gonna keep stretching it a little longer here. Again, the goal is to have a flat raindrop or pear shape that is similar to the body. Take that flattened piece and have them stick it on the bottom. Once they've attached that piece, they can take their fingers and press around the edges. This is also going to bulk up the project a little bit, add a little bit more thickness. So I'm just carefully pressing around that outside edge, making sure it's stuck on. But I'm not forgetting about my overall shape. Again, raindrop, thick raindrop. Looking at our frog here, its head is slightly lifted. Have your child take the project and we'll just press the back down onto the table. It's going to start to flatten the underside. At the same time, try to lift the front. So this part will be coming up, the head will be coming up. Looking at their frog, they should still see that raindrop shape. Here to create a more defined head, we're going to pinch up and down on the end. Again, we've got this little point coming together. And we're gonna come back a little ways and squeeze again. Starting to look a little more like a pear. This way we've created almost a little neck. Again, take the project. Let's just squish that back on one more time. We want to make sure it's not going to collapse forward. Creating that flat bottom will give a solid ground to work with. We're off to a good start. Okay, once your child has created the body, we will come back to that, but we're going to take a look at these 4 legs next. Have them grab those 4 pieces that they set aside for the legs. These pieces are not nearly as large as the body piece. Smaller than a marble, bigger than a green pea, and as we go, the size may need to be adjusted. I'll set this off to the side. Have your child roll up each piece. Another good opportunity to reinforce counting. How many legs are there? They can count them. Once all four are rolled up, we're going to roll them out longer. Start to elongate these legs. We want the thickness to be thicker than spaghetti, thinner than a pencil. Have them grab one of those legs they just rolled up. Using one hand, press and roll the piece on their surface. Should be stretching out a good bit. Again, we don't want it as thin as spaghetti, and we don't want it quite as thick as a pencil. Don't worry about how long they are right now, but encourage your child to roll all four and try to get a similar thickness for all of those legs. Again, the length does not matter at this moment. And this one ended up much longer. That may happen. Okay. Just taking a look at my legs here. We do need the legs to be fairly long so that we're able to make these folds, particularly the back legs. But it should not be as long as their hand. So I am going to go ahead and give these a cut. My back two legs, I'll leave a little bit longer. My front two legs, I'll make slightly shorter. They can use a plastic cutting knife for this, as well as a palette knife works well. Take a look at the four sizes. Have them hold their finger next to it. It should not be much longer than your finger, maybe about the same size. Definitely not as long as our hand. Next up, we're going to work on these little toes. So let's set those legs to the side. Have your child just move those out of the way. And they can grab their orange. Again, they can name the colors as we go. Another way to reinforce these colors, as well as mixing. If you don't have an orange, it could be mixed. Grab some yellow and some red and mix those together for your orange. These little toes are quite thin. Have your child tear off a small amount of the orange to start and roll it up into a ball. Your child's then going to take this ball and roll it out thin. This time, do think about spaghetti. So looking at our thickness here, this orange should be much thinner than the green. And have your child notice that. We're going to cut 3 pieces off. These can be fairly long, about as long as a fingernail. Let's go ahead and cut 3. Have your child grab those 3. They can start to stick them together on one end carefully. They look like a little bird foot. Coming to one of their legs, have them grab a leg, and we're going to just squish that under one side. Make sure you give it a good squish. We're going to do this to all of the legs. So I'll cut 3 more. Have them grab those 3, stick together those ends. Next leg. If you're sticking it underneath, you can also squeeze it side to side just to make sure it's really stuck on there. 3. Sticking them together. Underneath. I have run out. If your child runs out, just have them grab a little bit more and roll it out again. Roll that piece up into a ball. Press and roll it out long like spaghetti. And we'll stick those 3 together. These little ends will be sticky, so try to have your child keep them separate as much as possible. I know they may get stuck a little as we go. I can show you ways to separate those if that happens. We are done with the orange. Your child can grab the orange and set it out of the way. Again, good time to have them wipe their fingers off. So even now, it is not too late to cut the legs if they find as we go to attach these that they're far too long. Also, as we go to attach, this clay is really workable. So if the leg feels too short, they can give it a little stretch as we go. And I'll show you what I mean. Let's start with the back 2. These are attaching here at the back of our tree frog. So the back 2 legs are those longest legs. Coming to the back, I'm going to stick 1 and stick 2. These legs will stick to the side a little bit, so have them press the leg up about halfway. We should still have some extra leg hanging off to work with. If they do not, again, this can be pulled slightly as we go, or they may want to rework the leg so they have a little more clay to work with since we're doing a few folds here. Once they've got those 2 attached, have them take their finger and gently smooth this green clay on the back into the body. They are trying to blend these pieces together on the very end. As they blend, their clay sculpture may want to squish, wiggle around a little bit. Just have them remember that first shape that we started with, like a raindrop, a pear. So you can always push those legs back into a rounded position. And we're just smoothing this very end right here. As they work, they should be mindful of the legs. They're wanting to go everywhere. They are a little delicate right now. So just be gentle. Hold it with a light touch. Both of the legs are pointing forward right now. Let's start with our left leg. Have them grab the leg. We're gonna come to about halfway up the body. So take a look at the body about halfway. Have them bend the leg back. Bend the other leg back as well. And I'm just pushing that leg onto the piece, giving it a little squish. And we're going to bring this leg back forward. So this is where you might find that you need to do a little stretching. I need to do a little stretching so that I can fold it back. They can fold it back and tuck it slightly underneath. And give it a little squish. Same thing over here. I'm gonna give it a little pull, just really gentle. if they find that their clay tears, if the leg tears off, they could try to piece those back together and smooth around it and keep working. Keep bending this one forward, tucking it underneath slightly and giving it a little smush. Again, I mentioned those toes might stick together. If they do, grab a pointy tool or have them grab their clay knife and just carefully separate between them. Okay. We still want to make sure that head is lifted, so have them grab their sculpture gently with one hand while using the other to lightly lift the head. Okay, our next two legs are right in front. They're going to come back from the end of the face to about right in front of that. Taking a look at it, I know this is going to be a bit too long. Have them do the same. Compare the leg to the overall size, and you may find you need to cut it down. Just a reminder, these will be able to stretch. Okay, I cut mine down to about the length of my frog. Have your child take one, and the green end is attaching. Come in front of the other leg here, and we're gonna squish on this side. I like to give it a little squish and a little wiggle, trying to reinforce that attachment there. Same thing on this side, right in front, squish, wiggle it. This is a tricky spot to attach, and we don't want it to fall off. So taking a look under my sculpture here, something that can be useful. If you have a clay knife like this rounded end here, you could use this to gently press the leg into the body. You could have them do this on the underside, just making sure it is really good and stuck on there. And now have your child lay the sculpture down, and we will gently bend the front legs in. So giving it a little curve and a bend. Again, you might have to really press that leg up against there. And the other side. Have them be mindful of those toes underneath. They will slightly overlap the arms. Again, just make sure those legs are attached. They can have their fingers on either side and really squish it into the side. Next up, we're going to wiggle these arms around. So have them separate the toes. Again, just a reminder, they might get squished together, but they can purposefully curl them out to the side gently. I'm using the pointy tool here to help me grab it and push it. The main thing is just to separate these. Okay, next up, we'll have your child get the eyes on. Starting with red. Have your child grab red. They could also substitute this color. Something else vibrant would also look really nice. Let's divide this into two small pieces of red. These pieces should be a little smaller than a green pea. And we want them to be about the same. So have your child compare the two sizes. Let's get them close. They can also hold it up to the sculpture just to roughly get an idea of how big they will be. If they want to cut the size down or have large eyes, that also works. Each piece, we'll go ahead and roll it up. So have your child roll up those 2 red pieces. Once they've rolled it up, have them give it a little squish. Coming to the end of our frog, come back from the nose and have them press it on the side. Here's what it looks like for now, on each side. You can support the head underneath with your thumb or another finger and have them gently press these on. It will be wrapping around the sides slightly, and make sure to keep a gap in between. Okay, red is one of those colors that wants to stick to all the other colors, so wipe your hands. Okay, next step, your child's going to make an outline with the green around this eye. So they should have that one extra green piece that they have saved. Have them go ahead and roll it up in a ball. Press and roll it out long. Like spaghetti. Okay. Carefully, have your child grab the spaghetti piece. We'll start under the eye. Think about creating an outline with it. You can gently press it on. Have them follow that outside edge of the eye while they're pressing it down as they go. And when we get back to where they started, they could take their cutting tool and just gently press through that piece. And we really want to make sure this is stuck on. And they want to squish it around the eye somewhat, so have them pinch around the outside edge. It will squish a bit. Where the piece connected underneath, they could carefully take their finger and just smooth that connection point together. Okay, they're going to do the same for the other eye. If they don't have enough of their clay, they can roll out a little bit more. Again, I encourage starting on the bottom just because we can hide that seam of where it connects. So I am carefully pressing it on to wrap it around. Again, when they get back to where they started, have them just cut through that piece gently, through the excess. And they will squish this on as well. I know it's a little tricky to reach, but just a reminder, they can smooth this connection point. They could also use a tool, the end of a clay knife, the rounded side, just to kind of gently smooth that together. Okay, let's take a look at the frog here. And we'll just gently press the eyes again around. Make sure that they do feel round. And once they've got them where they like them, we're going to add a line of black and a reflection. They do not need very much clay for this. They're black, we're going to roll it out quite thin. So have them grab that small piece of black, roll it up in a ball, and press and roll it out extra thin. This will be the thinnest piece we've made so far. They can then grab their cutting tool and cut a little tiny piece off, like a sprinkle size. We just want it to be on the red. So if they go to attach it and find it's a little too big, they can just cut it shorter. It's going right across the red. I'm trying to get it about in the center. Once I've got both of those on, have them wipe their fingers off. Switching to white. We're going to make two very, very tiny white dots. They can pinch the clay off with their fingers. They could also use a cutting tool to help cut it. Have them roll up these little specks of white. They can give it a little smush before they attach it, so it's a very tiny little circle. And they can place it anywhere they like on the eye to create that reflection. I'm going just above the line. And then they have a tree frog. Not a bad idea before you bake your project. Just again, have them make sure that things are separated. Those little legs like to stick together. And there we have it. That's a wrap on our project today. Adults should handle the baking of all projects and follow clay package instructions carefully, as it may vary from company to company. Be sure to allow the project to completely cool before your child handles it. After the sculpture has fully cooled, you may choose to apply a clear varnish to the finished piece to create different surface effects, such as matte or glossy finishes. If using any varnish or other materials that contain volatile substances, this step must be completed only by an adult and only in a very well ventilated area, away from children. If you'd like more guided clay activities like this, you can save this video or subscribe to this channel for regularly posted projects.